Joining me now is New Hampshire Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander. She serves on the House Armed Services and Small Business Committees. Good to be with you today, Congresswoman. House Republicans called off a war resolution vote on Thursday after realizing they really lacked enough votes to defeat the measure. So now we have the president saying he's, quote, 50-50 on a peace deal and even resuming strikes. What's your assessment on the current conflict and where things stand?
Well, Britt, thanks so much for having me. We are marking Memorial Day in communities across this country where we come together to remember and honor the men and women who have given their lives to each and every one of us and to our country serving in uniform. And that includes the men and women who have died in the war in Iran. The fact that the Speaker of the House, essentially at the direction of the President, stood in the way of the United States Congress doing our job, upholding our oath to the Constitution, and blocked a vote that every member of the United States Congress should be forced to take every day that this war continues. It was an outrageous obstruction of our jobs, and it is downright dangerous because the fact is this president has not set out clear objectives or a clear end game in this war from before the beginning. And this is what our system was designed to do, to have checks and balances on the most consequential powers, and that includes war powers. So what the president has done is put us in a terrible situation as a country where the costs are through the roof, the path ahead is completely unclear, and right now our adversaries are benefiting from this conflict. You know, the Iranian regime is now younger than it ever has been in my lifetime. It has an asymmetric strategic tool that's using against us and the entire global economy. Vladimir Putin's making bank. This is why we need Congress to act and why I'm focused on making that happen.
And Congresswoman, given the events of Thursday, I mean, what are you hearing from your Republican colleagues?
Look, there is bipartisan support for the United States Congress doing its most basic obligations under the law. This war is costing people in lives. It's costing us in dollars. Gas prices are through the roof everywhere in this country. Small businesses are being pushed to the brink of having to go out of business. Family farmers are feeling the pain like never before. We know from history what happens when this country gets on a path towards war and doesn't have an end game. This is the question the commander-in-chief must answer to the United States Congress and ultimately to the American people.
And speaking of, I'm sure people at home are just wondering, what more Congress can do, or they want Congress to do more. What would you say to that? I mean, this war was supposed to last 4 to 6 weeks. We're stretching into 11.
Look, we've got the power of the purse, and we're right now in a situation where the president is asking the Congress and the American people for another historic budget for the Department of Defense. $1.5 trillion he's asking for the Pentagon. We had Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth come before the House Armed Services Committee. We asked him very simple questions about what has been spent in your taxpayer dollars and our taxpayer dollars on this war in Iran, and he couldn't answer the most basic questions about where this money is going. This is a problem that has raised bipartisan concerns, and I will be laser focused on ensuring accountability of this Pentagon because it is the least transparent in American history.
Let's talk about another major headline from yesterday. Tulsi Gabbard resigning as President Trump's Director of National Intelligence, citing her husband's cancer diagnosis. But Gabbard has long held an anti-interventionist stance, really, and appeared to be at odds with the administration when it came to the war with Iran. What was your reaction to that news when it broke yesterday?
Well, my heart and prayers are very much with Tulsi Gabbard, her husband, and their entire family. A cancer diagnosis today in America has never been more difficult to navigate. I see this every day in New Hampshire, where my constituents who are battling cancer are facing record costs and record barriers to receiving care. So I pray for their family. I pray for a quick recovery and for the health of Tulsi Gabbard's husband. Look, she had a very important job. I served 11 years as an intelligence officer in the United States Navy Reserve, and I had a chance to work alongside men and women from every part of our intelligence community in the course of that 11 years of service. And what I'll tell you is that the job of Director of National Intelligence was created, it was born out of the lessons of 9/11. It's an incredibly important role, and it's incredibly important right now that we have a person with the experience and with the judgment to be able to lead our intelligence community. The intelligence community is full of nonpartisan, patriotic Americans who have been under genuine attack from day one of this administration. Some of the best people in our intelligence community have been pushed out, and there has never been a more important time for intelligence. Intelligence is what stops wars, and it's what puts this country on the right track to be able to keep our people safe.
And something else I want to talk about while I have you. President Trump may be setting his sights on Cuba next after the DOJ charged 94-year-old former leader Raul Castro for his alleged role in downing 2 planes 30 years ago. And as the administration argues, Cuba's ties to China and Russia make it a national security threat. And there are also reports Trump may be looking to apply his Venezuela playbook, so to speak, to Cuba. So are you concerned that the U.S. will launch an actual military operation in Cuba on the ground?
The Cuban people are facing enormous pain and injustice from their government. And we stand with people in Cuba who believe in democracy and who yearn for freedom, just as we stand with freedom-loving people all around the world. What concerns me here is an invocation of the Venezuela playbook, because we know well that this is exactly what led us down the road to a war of choice in Iran that is costing us big time, that is undermining our national security. This instinct that the president has to pursue war before all other options is so at odds with everything that we know from history, including the recent history of this war of choice in Iran, which we've seen play out, where we didn't have clear objectives, we didn't have clear answers to the most basic questions that the American people deserve answers to from their commander-in-chief, including how does this end well, and why is this a responsibility of the people of this country? We've got big problems here at home, and the president began this year by declaring that he was going to run Venezuela, another country. He should be focused on our problems here at home, and he should be at the helm under our Constitution doing his duty, because that is what each and every person in this country deserves.
And to that point, let's talk about what's happening here at home. There is a rare Republican backlash happening right now. This is over the DOJ's nearly $1.8 billion settlement fund, which could potentially compensate those who committed violence on January 6th. Republican Senator Mitch McConnell called the settlement, quote, utterly stupid, morally wrong, and Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick and Tom Suozzi are drafting bipartisan legislation right now to stop this fund from going forward and happening. So how do you respond to the reality of this for taxpayers potentially paying restitution to those who attacked the Capitol?
It is outrageous, it is unprecedented, and it is so at odds with what the American people deserve from their president. Look, I come to this work believing deep in my bones that no one is above the law, no president, no corporation. And I also come to this work believing that